right, everyone. Bethany here with Ask a Puppy Trainer live show. We're on episode number 56. I got rid of Sparky. He's not here today. So you're stuck with just me and Nala for as long as I can tolerate this cuteness. All right, guys, I'm going to remind you how to ask questions. You can go to Instagram, TikTok. You can go to Instagram and DM us directly. And then sometimes we've got little prompts where you can put your questions in there on our Instagram stories. Please include the age of the puppy, and the breed or breed mix is really, really helpful too, because it is dog first, but breed matters. It makes a huge difference in some of the instincts that you're going to be dealing with your dog. Okay, I'm going to jump right in. We've got Julia. Julia says, what does she say? She says, I'm a younger person who wants to own a puppy. Okay, so doesn't have a puppy yet. I'm doing as much research as I can to be prepared. I'm currently a third shift 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. worker. Woo, that's tough. I'm invested in getting a dog that can be happy and healthy with this lifestyle. Any advice on a schedule that I can create to make my puppy's life easier, it would be greatly appreciated. I've owned dogs in the past, but not with my current work-life schedule. Any assistance helpful? Hoping to have information tacked down to adopt a puppy in about a year or so. Have a beautiful day. Okay. First of all, Julia, let's see. So 9 p.m. to 9 a.m., you're going to be doing most of your indoor focused work before you go to work at 9 p.m. because it's going to be dark, so you're only going to be able to do so much outside. And then when you get home and you're doing a 12-hour shift and you're dying to crash, you're going to need to take your puppy out. Maybe not work them fully for like 30 minutes or something, but you're going to need to take them out, give them a little focus stimulation for 15, 20 minutes before you put them back in crate. I absolutely think that this is doable. I mean, especially because puppies sleep more easily in the evenings than they do during the day. So I think that this is very doable. The tricky part is going to be when you do fall asleep and you need to sleep for 7-8 hours during the day. That puppy, just as if you go to work, is going to need a dog walker, a family member, your 16-year-old neighbor next door, somebody to quietly come in and let that puppy out to potty. That's going to be the tough part that you're going to have to figure out. Have the puppy in a separate room, so you're not going to have the puppy in the bedroom like we often say is completely fine for owners to do, because you're going to need to sleep so you can be safe whenever you work that evening. So you're going to have someone creep in, let the puppy out that's in a different room. But you can absolutely make that work. I see no reason why you can't. There's just going to be some tough adjustments. Now, different puppies are going to react differently to different environments. So get a puppy that's on the same wavelength as you as far as exercise and energy. I mean, you might always get a one-off and get a lazy retriever if you wanted a really active one. That can always happen, but try to have that in mind. The only real downside I see from your situation is puppies whine. They whine. It's kind of a thing that they do during the day. They're going to whine anywhere between 2 and 6 weeks. And so you're not going to have quality sleep unless you have a fairly big home where you can put the puppy in the far part of the house in the laundry room and shut the light off and give them their quiet time. And if they don't touch my microphone and if they do whine, you won't hear them. That's going to be the learning curve, I think. Or you're getting up every 3 hours while you're trying to sleep during the day. You'd be doing that for about a month, but hopefully you won't have to. But I do think that's something you have to be prepared to deal with beforehand, because it's very likely a possibility. I think it's fine that you're gone at night because they tend to sleep more at night. You might need to have someone come by like at 6 a.m. when the sun comes up. That's going to be when your puppy's up and has an accident. But other than that, it's going to be that whining during the day while you're trying to get your quality sleep. That's going to be the learning curve, okay? So just be prepared for that. All right, moving on. Excuse me. cute. She's helping. She's helping. You're so helpful. Okay, thank you. Nala, you're so adorable. I love her. Doesn't she have the cutest face? I forget what mix she is.
A mini
A mini Bernedoodle. Yeah, I remember it's something that I hadn't seen before. Oh, do I taste delicious? Oh, yes. You're so cute. Okay, JW says, how do I motivate my 5-month-old Havanese to enter into his crate? Recently, he started to ignore the come command anywhere near his crate. He never has a problem going in for mealtime, but the rest of the time, he just lays down. He won't move, even if I entice him with treats. Well, you need to get a leash on your puppy. There's nothing wrong with your puppy, especially 5-month-old Mark. Like this cute little puppy, I don't know how old she is, but I just saw her working and she flies, in and out, and it's no big deal, on and off place, really eager to work. But I bet if she knew she was gonna have to stay on place for an hour, she might not wanna hop on, quite so excitedly. And that's really common. And then especially as you hit the 5, 6, 7, 8-month mark, they start to anticipate it's my microphone. They start to anticipate why they think you're putting them there, and they will definitely start to be resistant. And I don't want you to get in a fight with your dog. And by fight, I mean a battle of please follow the food in crate. And you try the sweet voice, good job, come on puppy, good job. And then you're like, puppy, come here. And you're trying all the different things. You need to put your puppy on leash. So what I would say is in the house, when you've worked with your puppy or your puppy has had some supervised free time, you should go and get the leash, put them on leash, but don't make the leash a precursor to crate either. Work them 60 seconds. It doesn't take very much. Work them 1 to 2 minutes on leash and then walk in the room with the crate. Go into crate, come out. Into crate, come out. Just do like 5 reps. And then on the last one, you take the leash off, you shut the door. That way there's guidance. Guidance is crucial. This is a habit. Like so much of dog training in general, they pick up on habits. That's the thing. And so you want to prevent the habit of laying down and refusing to go in crate. I'm not saying that with a leash on your puppy that she's just going to walk right in because she has a leash on. But what I am saying is that you'll have more control so the puppy can't move away, like retreat in any way, shape, or form, and can't like go in a little bit and then bail out last second. You want that leash for control. It also puts you in a position where you're not so needy, because let's face it, once you pull out food and you're like, come on, let's go, come on, you're putting yourself in a position to be a little desperate, and it comes across as needy, and the dogs learn to push boundaries and disrespect you because of the softness, or they just get desensitized to it, so you just don't want to represent that. You can be excited, but it's on leash and puppy, come here, good job, and it's just a completely different attitude behind it. So last but not least, I would just say, because I don't think he's going to magically follow a leash in the crate. So what I would say is you have the leash on and you might just go in front. Let's say it's in the bedroom. So you go in front of the bedroom door, shut the bedroom door, sit. Good. We do you're chewing my finger. That's not sit. Sit. Good. Give a piece of food. Walk 2 steps. Sit. Good, give a piece of food, work your way up to the crate, then go in crate. Now let's say Nala didn't want to go in crate. Now she's small, your puppy might be bigger, but I would absolutely, because they know they're being left, they're not stupid, I would absolutely just pick up the front paws and put the front paws in crate and then kind of just wait. And they can't go backwards, they can't go forward, so, good job. And then they have to go in crate. Just be patient, don't push him in there. Then see if he'll take food in crate. And then let him come back out. And just do this over and over and over again until it's no big deal. Then take the leash off, then walk away. Your puppy's still going to know if you've put shoes on, if you've picked up keys. Try not to do any of those precursors. I'd say that's important. And start incorporating crate into everyday routines. I don't want it to just mean when you're being fed, which is really great, by the way, but I don't want it to just be when you're being fed out of a food bowl and when you leave. So if you do place, come, sit, come, crate, come down, anything like that, that's what we do. Once the puppies have learned all their basics, we start to mix them up, and then we start to add challenges. So that's kind of probably where you need to go from here. Look at you, Nala, being so good. Oh my God, I love her. Okay. Man, it's like I gotta breathe. I don't have Sparky to bounce off of. I just gotta breathe for a second, guys. Whew. All right. The Capel family says 4-month-old mini golden doodle barks when he's in his play area. He wants us inside too. Okay. So you're trying to do supervised separation. Sparky talks about this all the time. He's all about the supervised separation. Well, there is a lot of benefit in supervised separation. That's where you take your puppy and you put in a playpen or a sectioned off area of the kitchen, something like that. And we're like making sure she's not chewing the couch. She's not. She's being so good. And you walk away and you go do your thing. So that way it's not a crate rotation all day long. You're mixing in some part of the day where the puppy is with you, but not attached to you like glue or running free in the house, right? The problem is a lot of puppies can't handle that. They just can't. Sometimes it's from being spoiled. Not that that's you, Capel family. Not that that's you. But sometimes it's from being spoiled. Sometimes it's just from genetics. Just their genetic disposition, like Malteses, poodle mixes. Talking about you, Nala. She's actually pretty calm. But that would be the Bernese mountain dog, not the poodle. Some of these breeds, they are characteristically predisposed to have some sort of anxiety when you're far away from them and they can't get to you. They tend to be more attached at the hip, want to be attached at the hip, even if you haven't spoiled them. So what I would say, okay, now I'm going to pick you up. Yeah, you're chewing on the blanket. But we'll go ahead and get rid of her, if that's okay. Can you help me with Nala? Yeah, she's doing remarkably well. Usually I can focus on the puppy while Sparky's talking, but she's so cute. So that dog, if I was to hold her and pet her a big chunk of the day because she's so calm, and then try to be like, okay, go to this playpen and don't care about me walking away. Sometimes it's from that connection that they're getting the rest of the day, and sometimes it's a genetic personality trait. Okay, so anyway, moving on from that. You want to make sure your puppy doesn't stay in follower mode. This is a really hard thing to do. It's a hard skill. And there's been a few puppies I've come across where I've tried to teach them that, to be able to be out, but yet not get to me. And it's hard. It's so hard for some dogs. So what I mean by follower mode is your puppy, if let's say they're in the playpen, and don't give them a Kong or a chew toy or a snuffle mat or something right away. First, just make sure they're settled. And if they whine and take a step forward, it's no. And sometimes I like to use the gate of the playpen to actually move in to the puppy. Create a little spatial pressure. No. Dog settles, move playpen back, take 2 steps away. The puppy goes to the edge of the playpen. No. Or maybe make a little noise with it. No. And wait till the puppy settles back a bit. Then give the snuffle mat, chew toy, Kong, whatever it is, and try to walk away. But that's only going to last for so long. And if they don't pass out, and go to sleep, then it's just not meant to be. And they need to do more crate rotation. I will say, let me give you this option real quick. If you really want your puppy to learn how to be with you when you're out and about, they need to be on a leash tethered to you. Sometimes we do suggest back tying, like back tying your puppy to something, but that's usually for older puppies that have already learned like how to understand leash pressure and place, because we don't want them pulling constantly and on their harness or flat collar on a leash tethered and not understand why they can't get to you if they haven't first been taught how to handle the leash and go to place and settle down for at least a little bit. So anyway, that gives you some ideas, somewhere to start, but it's very possible that your puppy just can't do supervised separation yet. It's too much for them. Most puppies in my house, when we practice this, they get to the point where they can handle me sitting at the computer doing nothing. But then if another dog walks through, or the kids, or the husband, or something like that, that movement, they're up, and you have to get up and settle them down all over again. So you get them out of that follower mindset, and it's a hard thing to do. It's a lot of training, actually. So you don't have to do that. I just want to give you that as an option, or so you can understand what's happening. Just put them in crate. It's okay. Give them, 2 to 4 weeks, and they might have matured enough to where they can handle it then. Okay. On to number 4. That Nurse Amber. Okay, that Nurse Amber. Puppy does great with the crate during the day and cries at night. That's a surprise. I'm wondering why that is. I'm wondering, what it looks like, the crate setup in your home, because usually the puppies do better at night, unless he's going to sleep for a few hours and then waking up and not able to go back to sleep. That's quite possible. But it's the same advice as we would give anybody if they were having trouble during the day. It's like you want to make sure that they don't need to potty. Okay, so make sure if it's I don't have the age of the puppy, but if you're still dealing with potty training, definitely take them out. But then what happens is if they've whined a few times, let's say 3 a.m. on the dot, the puppy seems to keep waking up. You're letting a puppy out for whining, they're going to remember that. Even though it's because they have to go potty and they're awake, they're going to remember that you opened up that crate door because they were whining. So then what you want to do is start setting your alarm for 2:40 a.m. and wake the puppy up and take them out. Usually we don't wake up sleeping puppies, but this is one of the exceptions, because you do not want a puppy learning to whine all the time. That even happens with older dogs. I'll give you a quick story time. I don't have Sparky here that has to talk, so I can do my story time. My elderly border collie, you might have seen him on here sometimes, Dusty. He had diarrhea probably like 6 months ago. He ate parts of a ball. Yes, he's an elderly dog. We still have to keep an eye on that. But at least he chews them up, so it passes right through. But he had diarrhea 2 mornings in a row. And just that alone, he was waking us up the next day at 4 a.m. And we're like, oh my gosh, you've got to go out again. You're still having diarrhea. Take him out. He just runs around the yard. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like half asleep. I'm like, well, maybe he went and I didn't see. Same thing on the 4th morning. And by now it's getting more solid. I'm like, are you kidding me? 2 mornings in a row of waking us up at 4 or 5 a.m. to go and have diarrhea. A legitimate reason. I appreciated the wake-up call. Now he thinks that this is a new thing. And so it's amazing how we work so hard for this structure, and then we just give a tiny little inch even to an older dog, and they're like, oh, this is the new habit. So that is why it is so important not to let a whiny puppy out of crate more than once or twice and figure out what's happening so you can prevent that, okay? The other thing I would do is really look at where he is, make sure it's a very dark room. The crate is covered with maybe a dark, I don't want to say a towel if you live in a hot area, but just something dark. What I like to say is take a sheet and fold it over. If your puppy pulls in sheets, like pulls in blankets, things like that, you can go on Amazon and buy the plastic crate bottoms individually. And then you could just prop them up against the crate. And so that's a safe way to do it. Or you could get a fancy cover, but they might be able to pull that in too. So there's just a side note. If he's in a different room, play some music for him. Maybe that's the key. Maybe you need to put him in a different room. Maybe I forgot, this happened to a client of mine. found out from her husband, because she wakes her husband up sometimes. She like shifts violently in her sleep like she's going to Fight Club, and wakes up her puppy when the puppy starts whining. So we just have to figure this out. So just start thinking of some things like this. You might need to put them in a different room. Play in a perfect world, you've got a white noise machine or fan or humidifier going, just some sort of fuzzy, dull sound. And then you've got people talking or a movie or something like that on top of it, okay, to make it feel more comfortable for the puppy, like they're not totally alone. Oh, what else? You could, people don't really have heating lamps unless you live out in the country, but like something to warm the puppy up. So it could be a heating lamp. It could be you have to be really careful about these, some sort of water bottle situation, like hot water bottle situation, but you want to put it underneath something safe. You don't want the puppy chewing on it. You could do, again, something we're always hesitant about giving advice, but it really works nicely, is some sort of heating pad. But you can only do this if your puppy has zero chewing issues and you're layering, blankets or something safe on top. But they want to feel warm, okay? They want to feel warm. Well, hopefully that gives you enough to start with. Okay. And make sure you're going slow. Make sure you're working on crate as a command, not like, woohoo, crate, yay, food. No, it's like crate, sit down, good, come. And do that 20 times, before you go to bed. Okay, moving on. I really am moving on this time. Number 5. Okay, that nurse, Amber, still you. Struggling teaching puppy no. Any tips? It really depends on the age of the puppy. If you're dealing with under 12 to 16 weeks old, I do use no, but it's more associated with like no, a little bit of spatial pressure. Or I might go, no, puppy come, yay! It's just something to kind of interrupt the cycle of behavior of what they're doing. But at that age, 99.9% of the time, it might be a little spatial pressure, which we've already taught them with the crate door and with teaching place command and to stay on place command and leash guidance. Everything else is food, Even if I see my puppy like rooting around, where there's a sock, well, first of all, then your home's not puppy proofed. You got to get rid of the socks. And I know that's a tough thing to do, but I'm just saying that's always the goal. And you're just like, puppy, come. And they bring you the sock. Don't get onto them. Just be like, grab it, drop it, good, down, and then put the sock down and teach them not to get it, and then work with them for food. It's all about redirection with puppy stuff. You're not going to get any solid no that really helps them think better about life's choices until they're older. Right now, it's all about showing them how you want them to behave and preventing bad behavior. That's what the vast majority of it is. Okay, let's see. We've got Diego, how to handle bringing in a new puppy. I'm afraid, we did this one last week.
I think this is part 2 of it. This is the new one for this week.
How to handle bringing a new puppy. I'm afraid the older dog will bite the puppy, not liking to play. Well, we did answer a question last week about bringing in a puppy to the home with an older dog that's not necessarily good with puppies. I'm not going to be as thorough because we were super thorough last week. So Diego, if you want to hop on, that's why I thought I was like, I just answered this. If you want to hop on last week's, you can actually see in the TVs, it's not TV anymore on Instagram, but in the video section, just look at last week's and our boss timestamps all the questions. So you'll be able to see the question that addresses this. But anyway, just the brief part is we don't. We don't have puppies around dogs that will go after them, because my whole point, or my whole responsibility in raising a puppy is the same as raising a kid. It's to bring them up with the best socialization possible, and I would just never subject my puppy to that. So the puppy already is on crate rotation, and if they are out, it's in an enclosed area. I don't want the older dog to feel encroached on his space. So that puppy will probably be on leash in the house, tethered to me when he gets to the point where he can be tethered for the next year. Until you have off-leash reliability in the house and maturity, that's how it would be. There are some exceptions to that. There are definite ways to build the bond between the two of them. Maybe it depends on your older dog, and we definitely went over ways to do that pretty thoroughly last week. So I hope you'll check that out. Not to like just put you off on that, but Sparky was here too, so we were able to go back and forth, and we had quite a few ideas for you. Okay, Serenity sweethearts. What's the best way to learn how to professionally train protection dogs? Go and find, sorry, it just took me a second. I was like, this is not puppies, right? The best way to learn how to professionally train protection dogs is to look online, find trainers in your area that do protection work, really do your research as far as, liking, who it is. It can be a rough world to be in. It's supposed to be. You're supposed to be tough. If you're going to be in that world, you got to be tough. It's just the way they speak to each other, the way they speak to you, the mistakes that you make can really mess up a dog when they're training to do these things. So please keep that in mind. I have been yelled at significantly in that world when I was just learning a few things, and so have some of my colleagues, and that's the norm. So please keep that in mind. And that's what you do. You go and you find someone and tell them you're interested, and maybe the first thing to do is, do you offer internships? Can I shadow you? Well, a lot of times they won't do shadowing because it's a tough business training dogs to do that, but go try. That's what I would suggest that you do. Okay. Oh, and I mean, you've probably already done this, but dive into the videos for that kind of stuff. That way you already have an idea of people who do that kind of work this way, people who do it this way, with tools, without tools, all the different options. Go out there and already have a general knowledge of some of the different techniques used for these dogs. Okay, moving on. JW says, how do I motivate? Oh, I already did that. Oh my gosh, I'm finished. Yeah.
Just repeat it. It's a Border Collie and Jack Russell mix.
Border Collie Jack Russell mix.
How can I convince my 3.5-month-old puppy to stop biting me and any other living or non-living being which he considers worth biting? Okay,
so around a 3 to 5 month old?
3.5.
3.5. I was like, oh, why is there a range? Okay, maybe a rescue dog. I thought maybe it was a rescue dog. 3.5 month old puppy that is biting her physical self and anything around that it wants to bite. Okay, so first of all, if it really is a Border Collie Jack Russell Terrier, I mean, what was that breeder thinking? There's a reason. There's a reason that there are mutts and then there are full-bred dogs. So that can be really tough. Yeah, it might be a rescue. That can be a tough scenario. One of the most difficult dogs I ever worked with was a Border Collie Cocker Spaniel mix. Cocker Spaniels are supposed to be easy compared to other herding dogs. Well, not when you mix them with the neurotic Border Collie. And I basically have a hunting herding dog that wants to hunt and bite everything. So you have the same version of that. So what are Jack Russells bred for? We're going to assume that you do know that it's some type of terrier. Terriers are bred to kill small animals. What are herding dogs bred for? Herding dogs are bred to use their mouth to communicate with their environment, just general communication, okay? And not you, but someone mixed, those two things together, a terrier and a herding dog. So that's going to be pretty tough. The reason I really want you to think about that is not to give your puppy some leniency, but just to understand where they're coming from. The first thing I would do though is that puppy would never be outside of crate off leash. So if you haven't started to train a lot of stuff on leash, now's the time. It would be in my home on leash all the time. I want to teach that puppy how to perceive his environment, how to behave in his environment every moment of every day that we have together. And then when we're not together, he goes back in crate. Okay, so that's one. And you have food on you all the time. You need to train really strong thresholds. So use the crate door to make the puppy wait for permission to come out of crate. By 3.5 months old, that puppy easily in a day can learn how to not bolt out the front door, the back door, and bolt out a crate. That the puppy can actually look at an open door and not go through it without you giving the puppy permission. We use spatial pressure for that, and then leash guidance and food for reward. That would be the first thing. The next thing I would do is be a food machine. This puppy needs to get every reward from your hand, or every meal from your hand. You can feel handfuls of kibble. Like, I'm fine with that, or whatever food you feed. Dry food, kibble's dry food. But don't only do stationary commands. That's the next thing. Everybody is sit, place, stay. No, do come, handful of food. Take a few steps back. Come, let's go, turn, handful of food. You know, right there by the seam of your pants. Really get your puppy to focus on you with movement. They need to see you in a different light. So do not feed that puppy for at least a month is ideal, minimum 2 weeks. If they don't eat from your hand, they don't eat. Like, they'll be fine, I'm sure, because you're giving them plenty of opportunity, you know, to work for food. The last thing that I'm going to tell you is, yes, you can say no and use leash, like that's what we do. No, leash pressure, spatial pressure to kind of move into the puppy, and we hold the leash with a little bit of tension on it just to kind of help the dog settle down. Once we feel the puppy settles a little, then we'll relax, and then food right away to move on to something else. The problem is, though, if you don't have, and I don't know if this is you, I'm not saying you don't have the relationship in place, but a lot of times if you don't have a relationship where your puppy is already looking to you for everything, there is nothing in the world that's going to stop that biting. So that's why that needs to get into place first. Looking to you for everything, discipline with thresholds, teaching him how to wait for his food rewards. Like, there just needs to be a lot of impulse control taught to him before you can expect him to be less bitey. But absolutely, go home, try it, leash all the time, no pressure, firmly face him directly, wait for him to calm down. You could try like giving a little tug, but then there's a food redirect right after that, okay? And he might be overtired, he might be cranky. To stop petting him so much, work him more. And we see that a lot too. Petting causes stimulation. So if the puppy's not already in a calm state of mind, petting the head and the face especially just makes them all bitey. So anyway, even giving guests pieces of food. But anyway, you can work up to that. I hope that gives you somewhere to start, and we will see, well, not we, me. I will be here, Sparky will be here next week, and same time, same place, 1 p.m. Wednesday.